we are all pretty aware and unfortunately starting to get used to Hollywood's habit of taking things that we grew up on, some for many generations now, and putting their own take, their own spin on things, which usually results in a lackluster product, something that hasn't been received that well, and the trend is going down. You know, I think at first they got away with this stuff. People were just excited to see these things on the big screen, and little by little, as they become a little more daring in their pushing of these narratives, these agendas, the audience is starting to wake up to it and starting to pay attention. And here we have a story from Bounding Into Comics about Snake Eyes. The new Snake Eyes movie, you know, is set to come out, I don't know, someday, some year, when movies come out again. And, well, we'll read it and see, you know, go through it here. Snake Eyes actor Henry Golding claims he cried on the phone after the first week of filming the G.I. Joe movie. That's not even what this video is going to be about, but I find that funny. You know, look, these movies can be incredibly grueling. They, when they filmed, I think it was Casino Royale was the first one. Daniel Craig wanted to leave. He wanted to never do a movie again because he almost died when they're in Florence and the building is collapsing into the water and it starts flooding. They had to resuscitate him because he almost drowned. He's had multiple injuries. He's wanted to walk away from the franchise a few times. So, you know, these things can be really grueling on the body, but that's also why you hire someone like Ray Park to play Snake Eyes, you know, because he's already trained and he already has the stamina for it. But, you know, they can take someone these days and get them up to physical shape in relatively no time. But yeah, it's going to take a lot of work. So Henry Golding, who, you know, he was in Crazy Rich Asians. So he's one of those up and coming stars. You know, obviously they're pushing him into the big leagues now or trying to at least, with Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe. So he has described the first week of filming in the upcoming G.I. Joe spin-off as literal hell due to physical requirements asked to play the titular ninja. In a recent interview with NME, the Crazy Rich Asians and Gentleman actor explained that Snake Eyes has just blown me away. They've created G.I. Joe into something very cool. It was very cool for a very long time when the cartoon was on. Yeah, but the movies, you know, they weren't the best. So, but I did really like Ray Park as Snake Eyes. They've created, and the whole Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow rivalry, which we'll talk about here. They created G.I. Joe into something very cool, a far throw from what we've seen thus far on the big screen. He also voiced his opinion that there's room for many spin-offs, to be honest, and his optimism that Snake Eyes will launch a brand new franchise. So this will be, you know, if it succeeds, the launching pad into a new version of G.I. Joe. It's obviously disconnected with the previous two films, so this will be a whole new take on it. The actor also discussed how the physical demands on the film's stunts choreography and his own private fitness training was painful, and how the film was definitely much more of a martial arts film than a superhero movie. That I am interested in because I love martial arts films and, you know, studying martial arts. So I'm interested in at least that part of it. But, you know, the fact that it's tied to Snake Eyes, that's where I become very apprehensive. It's very, very physical. I effing hated it in the beginning because I couldn't even squat down to go to the bathroom. Oh, man. Wow. That's a rough one. The first week was literal hell. I think I cried on the phone to my manager. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Henry, be a man. Don't cry. You get to be Snake Eyes. You should have tears of joy, if anything. You should be counting your blessings because... yeah, this is the character of Snake Eyes right there. So I don't know. Golding has been very vocal about his experience with the feelings about the upcoming G.I. Joe film. Earlier this year, Golding noted that he was honored to play such an iconic character. He felt that for viewers to never really see what is beneath the mask is always miss something. It always missed something. No, I disagree. I think the fact that we never see him, other than, like, you know, I think there were one or two glimpses in the comics that I'm aware of that they showed his face, and you know that adds to the mystery. It's like Vader, you don't want to see him without the mask until the end where it makes sense to have it take it off. You don't want to see the Mandalorian without the mask. I don't think they ever should have taken the mask off. I didn't want to see Kylo Ren without the mask. They should have kept the mask on. Every time you demask a hero, it sort of it takes away from the allure. It takes away from the story, or the mystery, I should say, the story. So I don't agree that it's a missed opportunity. I don't want to see him without his mask on. I want to see the character that we grew up with, the character that they wrote, the character that was created for an intended purpose. But they're not doing that here, as you'll see. The actor has been included in online conversations about playing a race-swapped James Bond, which has led him to state that now is the opportunity for change in the franchise, be it female, male, bi, gay, straight, trans, Asian, black, Latina. Wow. What about just Latina? Black Latina? What about just regular Latina? That doesn't count? Too white, right? I think they say that now. Latinas are white. Yeah, I mean, they left that one out. But isn't it great for people to be like, okay, now's the time. Why the hell can't we have a black Bond or Asian Bond or mixed race Bond or non-distinct Bond? He asked. Well, here's the problem. By Hollywood, we continually see them trying to push this agenda of taking these, non-distinct or mixed races or, minorities and just slapping the label on something that's already been created. You're not honoring whatever group you're trying to promote. You say you're standing behind them, but you're not. Because if you really did, you would create something new. You'd be building something. Why not create a new universe, a new character, a new theme, a new franchise, a new IP? But they don't do that because I don't think they respect them and they don't really care. They're just trying to check their boxes. If they really did, they would create something new. That's one issue. B, you're not respecting the original creator. You're not respecting the original artist, the original writer. Ian Fleming had a purpose and a point for creating Bond. He was meant to be an Englishman coming from his upbringing. He had struggles with being an orphan. There's a whole story there. There's a point to who he is and why he is the way he is and what he looks like. You can't just take that and make him, by switching his background, you're switching the entire character. So why not just create a new character? Don't just call him James Bond. Have him, have us try to believe that now he's Asian or mixed race or black Latina, but he's an Englishman and he had the same upbringing. No, that's not true. He would not. Ian Fleming had a purpose, and by switching that, you're disregarding and trampling on what Ian Fleming had created. So you don't care about the original artist is what you're saying when you do these things. Same with Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes was white and blue-eyed, blonde-haired. There was a purpose for him being like that. There was it was racist, I guess, against him for being white, blonde-haired, and blue-eyed, because Storm Shadow comes from Asian descent, and the fact that Snake Eyes was a trained ninja, but he wasn't Asian, that builds the conflict of the character. That builds part of who he is. So now they're taking, Henry Golding and putting him in Snake Eye. Apparently they're going to demask him, so you're going to know it's him, of course, because why pay for Henry Golding if you're not going to take the mask off? Which is a mistake, But anyway, they're switching the character. So this is not going to be Snake Eyes. We can't believe that he's going to have... So why not just create a new character? Why even do Snake Eyes? Just do a different ninja movie and, create something new. Instead of reimagining. See, that's what they do in Hollywood now. They reimagine because they don't imagine. They have no imagination left. Well, they do. There are people that do. But unfortunately, they're stuck writing for shows like Supergirl and, movies that like this that lack creativity because they can't get paid. Studios are not funding their projects. There's plenty of talent in Hollywood, unfortunately, and outside of Hollywood. Unfortunately, studios do not greenlight these projects. We need to start Hollywood needs to start greenlighting independent projects, new projects. You can't just rely on taking Snake Eyes, slapping a label on them, and hoping that's going to go over. Because the audiences are becoming too aware now. They're waking up to this, and I don't know if this movie's going to do well. Maybe it's going to be really good, and they find some interesting way of doing it. I'm just saying, based on what he's saying here about Why not just take Bond and make him whatever? Because you're dishonoring the original intent, the original creator, the author, what have you, comic, the illustrator, whatever it is that whoever first created these characters, you're dishonoring that. And also I think you're dishonoring the groups because you're just slapping a label. You're not really there. It's not cohesive. We know this also from Star Trek. Recently, Alex Kurtzman has said straight out that the agenda, the show is more a platform for the agenda than it is for Star Trek or lore or canon. So that's the other point of view. It's different if you're taking something and swapping it because the actor's best for it. Like we did our TR4 show on Saturday. It's on author Stephen Wald's channel. We talk about this because they just announced a black Hawkeye and a black Tinkerbell, and we talked about when things are done right, when they're not. And I said, Jeffrey Wright, I really liked him as Felix Leiter. Felix Leiter's a white guy, but it's not integral. It's not like Bond. You can switch him, and he doesn't have the history, the background, so you can switch him up. And Jeffrey Wright's a great actor, so I liked him as Felix Leiter. I thought it worked really well. Didn't bother me that he was black. There was because it fit the character. He's a great actor. It wasn't used as an agenda or a platform. It was just like, hey, let's hire him because he fits. It's not going to disrupt the character of Felix Leiter, and he's a great character or a great actor. So it worked. They're also hiring him as Jim Gordon for the Batman. I also like that because again, he's a great actor. It doesn't seem like it's a forced platform. But when you have something like this, it tends to feel like that, especially when Henry Golding's come out and saying, yeah, why can't we just switch everything? Well, now you're starting to show the intent that it's more of a platform to push narratives and agendas rather than, create a character. And obviously Snake Eyes with this character, it's like an integral part of his character that he was white, blonde hair, blue eyes, because it caused the conflict between the Asian Storm Shadow. So yeah, I think it's, there's a difference. You can tell when it's something that's doesn't fit the character and is being used to push an agenda rather than honor the character, honor the legacy of the creator. Pull a Kurtzman, I guess, as you might say. So that's a major issue that I think they just don't care about anymore. But audiences are starting to wake up to this, and they're we've seen these things like with Supergirl. It's getting canceled. I don't know how Batwoman's going to do. I can only imagine, but she looks terrible in that suit. Like they just took Ruby Rose's suit and gave it to her. Hopefully they change that throughout the show, throughout that season, and she becomes her own individual, because right now she just seems like a Ruby Rose. They're just slapping that suit on her, and we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, I just thought I'd share this article and give my thoughts on how these things go when there's a difference in doing it right, having it fit a character if you're swapping them for some reason, and creating the character in a way that it makes sense to do it, or it doesn't matter in the first place that they do it. But when you take someone like Bond, you take someone like Snake Eyes, there is a reason, a history behind why they are that color, that race. It was integral to their character growing up. So you can't just slap a different label on it and think it's going to work as that character. That's why I liked Atomic Blonde, the Charlize Theron movie. It was like a Bond-type movie, sort of a Jason Bourne-type movie, a lot of action, heavy martial arts scenes, spy movie. But hey, they didn't call her Jane Bond. They created something new, and I really liked that. I thought that was a great way to do it. It was stylistic. It wasn't a ripoff of Jason Bourne or any of that. It had its own tone, and it had its own feel to it. And I thought they really did it right. So I really like that. We need to applaud things like that, whether you like it or not. It maybe got mixed reviews, but I gave it a good review just for having originality. Creating something new. You want to do a spy thriller with a female, make her really badass. Great, do it. Do it like that. Don't take Jane Bond. Create Atomic Blonde, something that's that's different and unique. Same thing with Miles Morales. Spider-Man. Don't just take Peter Parker and make him black, or make him black Latina, as they say, or whatever. Create a new character. Miles Morales, great character, great story, different background, different upbringing, totally different character. Spider-Man has similar abilities, but different character in his own right. That's the way to do it. Don't just take Peter Parker, slap a label on him, and all of a sudden he's, whatever, you name it, whatever it is. So anyway, those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget, give it a thumbs up, share it, help the channel grow, help the video get out there, and also subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Till next time, lock the doors and hope they don't have blasters.